when I watch TV, it's just some shows that are pretend. And when you explore, you get more imagination than you already had. And when you get more imagination, it makes you want to go deeper in, so you can get more and see beautifuler things. Like the path. If it's a path, it could lead you to a beach or something, and it could be beautiful.
Tuesday, the 10th of June 2014, allegedly. My name's Paul.
My name's Andy.
And here we go again then. Having a week off next week, so let's put something into this one.
Yeah.
Started off with a little girl, the imagination and reading how she understands that TV is all pretend.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I'd figured that out in the real world a long time before I hit somewhere near about 40 years old.
Me too, yeah.
I wish I'd figured out that the whole world is playing its part in a staged event called living.
Yeah. We've said the scope of horror, your horoscope. Just made me think tonight.
Following the stars.
The people on this planet that have been played against each other, and I was thinking about Syria, and Libya and Egypt, and now the Crimea and the Ukraine. And we've had it in Yugoslavia, and which former Yugoslavia?
How many more
Bosnia.
places before it's a world-type war?
Yes, how many more before it's World War III?
Yes, exactly. Because isn't it attacking on three fronts? One,
yeah.
Isn't that we're here already.
We're here.
We're here. We always look for the future, not realising that every minute of every day it's been made for us to live in.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
The guilty thing, this guilt thing...
But the good thing is that we've got the football stats this week.
But this makes you feel...
You're not paying attention to football stats this week.
It links to the football. It makes you feel more superior to... Because you're watching these events unfold and you've not been involved in them. And luckily, we're in a generation... I was speaking to a generation womanly customers that... They had a picture on the wall of the father-in-law, and I said, he's an handsome chap, and he's got his flying suit on, and there were a picture of a mosquito outside of it, and he said, that's my father-in-law, and he flew mosquitoes in the Second World War. I says, this guy's in his 60s, and I says, aren't we lucky? Aren't we lucky that I've not had to fight a war like that, and you've not had to fight a war like that? He didn't know what to say to me.
Because the modern warfare is not like that, is it?
It isn't. But
you see, the old world that we're busy transforming into democracy. Well, you see what I mean.
Mm.
You see, we're programmed to be proud.
Yes,
we're proud because we're superior
to
these lesser countries. Mm. We should be proud.
We've done all that.
Yeah, we're ahead of them.
Yeah,
they live in old-fashioned houses with old-fashioned ideas. So we're the race leaders.
And we're not at all.
Rubbish.
It is rubbish.
This is rubbish.
It is.
Okay, we're here by debt.
Exactly.
Debt and bloody ignorance.
This
is the original second flood.
Mm-hmm.
Has it always been in danger of flooding us? Of course it has.
Mm.
You and I cannot sit here and claim anything that others haven't claimed many years before us. Because the same game, the same edge of the same cliff, the same throwing over the side of the boat, the same worthlessness, the same valuation has been given to people just like me and you throughout history.
Exactly.
useless eaters.
That's what they call us.
Non-productive members of society. And the people who are born with problems, they're called invalid. That's what they're called.
They're called invalid.
Valid.
They are.
We're taught to say it different, and it masks the word.
The word, it does.
We're taught the word liberate is to release. We're taught to attain freedom.
Yeah.
And we never see the word liberate in the world of deliberate. We don't see it because we're blind. We don't see the word heap in sheep, do we?
No.
We don't see it.
No.
We don't hear the word wake in awake. And we don't even know what a wake is. But we do, if we think about it. We've been taught who and where and what we are.
Yes.
And we've been given every opportunity to change that. The world is being monetised in our eyes now. They have had a monetary world for a long time. Everything has been based on value, and it's relevant value. And if it has no value, it has no use. We're learning that now, aren't we? We're learning that the hard way.
Yeah.
Now, if you have no value, the system doesn't want to give you anything.
No, it doesn't. No.
And as usual, it's picking on the weakest members of society.
Yeah.
The old, the infirm, the disabled.
Yep. And how many times have we heard performance-related pay?
Exactly.
Performance-related. Now the MPs should be on performance-related pay. All them should be on performance-related pay.
Yeah, but it depends who's actually rated them, isn't it?
Yes.
Because we have in our journey so far, we learnt something a long time ago, and that is that shouting at politicians is silly.
It is.
Because they know exactly what they're doing. I've likened it to, and I'm going to do it again, I've likened it to a 5-year-old in English. He's in English class. And his English teacher spells a word on the board incorrectly. And that 5-year-old knows that that word is wrong. He puts his hand up and says to the English teacher, "You've spelt that wrong." "Have I really?" And he corrects him. The teacher checks and he finds that he's correct. "Well done you, thank you for pointing that out to me." It happens again the next time. And it happens again the next time. And if it happens enough times, the 5-year-old starts to think he's not only equal to his English teacher, but he's actually superior to his English teacher. And how that works out in the head of the 5-year-old is, he no longer has to listen to the English teacher because he's already attained a level of intelligence that is above the English teacher. It never once occurred to him that his English teacher was making mistakes on purpose, so he stopped learning. That's how this system works. What I've just told you now is the absolute crux of why we cannot learn. Because after a very small period of time of looking at the reverse side of reality, we think we're smart, don't we? And we're not, are we?
No,
we're
far
not.
from it.
We are just like the 5-year-old. And the system works really well. Our little alternative movement works really well because it says, don't trust or watch television. So that's alienation from what we might call the outside world. It then says, don't read the newspapers. They are evil. Some more disconnection from what we were living in. It then indoctrinates you to be and speak in a different way. The alienation continues. Your friends start to notice the change and step back. Your family try to intervene, but you're not having any of it. Because you've already figured out that you're smarter than the politicians. You're smarter than the people around you. You know more than the police do, and TV and newspapers are not to be trusted. This makes you completely different to what you were before this occult system. This cult was introduced to you. And over a period of time, you actually remove all contact with the outside world. No papers, no television, no music, nothing that we call media. Then you remove all contact from people you know and love. But you don't love them anymore because they don't listen to you, because you sound crazy to them. But you've been indoctrinated with this idea that you're right and they're all wrong. This is how cults recruit their newest members. You're now sat home alone, focused on the saviour that told you and convinced you this was the way forward. And the saviour in this event is the very spy who doesn't love you, because it comes in all flavours. And while you're busy criticising, don't be surprised that you can't make friends, because I don't know many people who criticise who can make friends at the same time. Do you?
No.
You're in a cult. You're in a system that's designed to make you feel home alone. And you are home alone. And if you keep going down this path, you'll think you're smarter than everybody else around you, while having less and less and less to go with. Less friends, less external contact, less reality, less opportunity, and probably no girlfriend, no job, and no money, and you still won't stop, will you? Welcome to the Unpenned Show. Because that is what is happening to too many people. They find an alternative reality to blame for all their problems and go right ahead and do so. This now allows them to cleanse themselves of all blame. I have now been reborn into a world where I know more than you do, so I'll be right and you'll be wrong. You're all mind-controlled and I aren't. Ha 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 ha. This is bullshit. This is absolute rubbish. The world didn't change because you saw a different flavour. The world's still here that you used to live in. The world hasn't changed at all, one jot. It's you that's changed. If you think this new you is going to become something more than you already are, good luck. It takes a long time. And if you're still using YouTube to do it, you're never going to get there. You've got to take the stabilisers off, haven't you?
You have.
When did you take the stabilisers off? 3 years in? About 3 years in?
Yeah, pretty much.
It was 2 or 3 years in when we actually started to go out and speak. We went out and about and started speaking out, didn't we?
4 years in, yeah.
But to speak out, we started going to meetings, we started disagreeing with those that were there. In the early days, it was nodding dogs, wasn't it? Yeah. Remember the Roger Hayes thing?
I do.
Not trying to embarrass you here. Remember the conversation on the way home?
Yeah.
What was it?
I was totally sucked in. It was on the Lawful Bank, wasn't it? I remember it. We were coming back from Manchester early hours of the morning. And Roger had his hat round, passed the hat round to put money in.
He had.
And how many years ago that now? 2, 3 years ago?
Whatever.
I signed up to it. I still get an odd email saying, "Are you still interested in the Lawful Bank? If not, just you can get out of it now if you don't want to." And we were.
But let's have the conversation on the way back, because this was we differed here.
We did.
Let's go back to how when we got there.
Yeah,
it was a pub in Manchester.
It was,
and we had to go upstairs.
Yeah.
Tell me how you felt when you went upstairs.
Depressed. It was dark, dingy hole with these low energy light bulbs.
It felt like a funeral parlour, didn't it?
It did, yeah. It stunk, smelly old, unkept.
It was
pub.
dim, not just the lighting.
No.
And we sat in our place. It was quite busy, wasn't it? What would you say, about 30 or 40 people?
I would have said, good 40
good
people.
Turnout, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a good turnout, yeah.
And we sat we sat in the space. We sat down. And we were from North Yorkshire, and everybody else was from North Westshire.
I think we're on the We Are Change video.
Oh, we really?
Yeah.
But they were from North Westshire.
They were,
and we were in North Yorkshire.
And
we were the strangers in the mist.
We were the strangers in the camp.
Strangers in the mist, weren't we?
Yeah. How have you got here?
Well,
we drove.
We were spotted as being different. And this shows a big difference between North Yorkshire and North Westshire, doesn't it?
You've got a car, have you? Oh, yeah, we've got we've come in Paul's car.
Well, do you remember when we
sat in my old car as well?
And do you remember I said to you, can you see them? The rats and the mice and the foxes. Do you remember saying that? Can you see the heads on these people now? Can you see the rabbits and the hamsters, and they're all there, weren't they?
Caught in the headlights.
All different types, weren't they? And then the camera switched on, and it panned around the room. We weren't happy about that.
No, we weren't.
My face is on camera.
Never asked us if they could film us.
Because we were bloody paranoid then.
We were, yeah.
Right. He just filmed me. He just filmed me. And we had Alex down as the PSYOP guy.
Yeah, we
had Alex down as the MI5.
Yeah. He was the infiltrator.
he was the government operative, wasn't he?
Yeah.
The spy in the camp.
Well, he had all the new gear on.
He
new trainers, new jeans.
He just didn't look right,
No,
did
he didn't look right.
Like he got dressed in the phone box before he came in.
He did, yes.
So, and he was definitely the PSYOP guy, wasn't he, Alex?
He was, yeah.
And I hope Alex is listening.
I hope he is,
This is because, we're now comfortable to speak out.
We are.
And Alex,
we're not frightened.
I hope you laugh. And
Yeah.
I hope you appreciate that we didn't know you didn't know us,
No.
and you probably thought something similar.
Similar, yeah.
Probably. But it doesn't matter, because we're just saying it that's what we thought, wasn't it? I think he's the camera guy.
Yeah.
He actually videos all the things, right? He does We Are Change, and he does the critical mass thing, and he does
Freedom Northwest.
Freedom Northwest.
Yeah, he does all those.
And all those top, he's there all the time.
All the time. He's at every one.
So it's him. It's him. He's the guy.
Sorry, Alex.
Anyway, let's get over that.
Yeah.
The talk started. Okay, the talk started.
And we'd got pictures of the money dispensing machines. You know, the hole in the walls.
Yeah, we had. Yeah,
we've got these made, and he even had some money. He didn't hand it round though.
we saw the plates though. We did see the printing plates.
They were gonna
Printing plates.
print the money. And, but you've all got to sign up. We need £100 from everybody. And the first is typical pyramid
This
selling.
was funny, wasn't it? Yeah, because go on.
You'd gone. It wasn't. If you've ever been, you've got to go to a pyramid selling. You go, well, I'm trying to think of the company Amway. If anybody invites you to an Amway thing where you sell soap powder and toothpaste, go to one of them. I've been to one.
There's Better,
Brilliant.
Easy and Cleanware.
Yes, all those pyramids. But yeah, but it was the leveraging the money up.
It was his, wasn't
We've
it?
got to leverage this money up, and the first person that comes up with £500,000.
It was. Well, how it was, wasn't it? Remember, the more you put in, the more we can leverage it.
The more we can leverage.
And the maximum we can leverage to is 250,000.
Remember that? It, yeah.
So if you put, I can't remember.
100,000 in or something. It was.
Well, it wasn't. The total was 100,000, so we could make something like 10 million or whatever it was. And we sat there, and what did I say to you? I said, "This is brilliant.
Yeah,
this is brilliant." And you thought I was agreeing with it.
I did, yeah.
And what did I say? I said, "These people are going to give him the money."
Yeah, we're going to hand over our money
they
now.
They haven't got any money. They're almost ready to give him the money.
Yeah, we were all phoning up.
Wonga. Fantastic.
Can you lend me £100 because this guy's going to leverage it up to £500 once I've given me 100.
Anyway, Roger arrived, didn't he? And he couldn't drive because he was pissed on red wine.
He was drunk on red wine.
Luckily, we were presented with a bottle of red wine.
You presented with a bottle of red wine,
which he actually drank while he was there.
Yes,
he turned up late.
Yeah.
He was well on his way when he got there. He drank a whole bottle of red wine while he was there, and then chauffeured back to the train station.
Yeah.
Anyway, we left the meeting with two different points of view, but we hadn't had time to talk about it because we wanted to get back home, didn't we?
We did, yeah.
So we sat in the car and said, "What do you think?"
And I was thinking, yeah, this is great. This is what we need. This is working in like the bank system does, but it's our own money.
but you remember?
Do you remember
the question? We're going to need solicitors and that because we can't pay our bills with this new currency.
Yeah,
we can't pay gas. We can't pay electric.
Nope.
We can't pay all the things that we would need to pay to live. We can't pay with this new currency. And he said, "Don't worry. By that time, we shall hire the best barristers and solicitors, and we shall make them accept our currency."
Yeah.
And I thought, how'd you do that? How'd you do that? How? And the answer came back. They just make it up out of fresh air, so we can just make it up out of fresh air. You need a license to print money.
You do.
Sod the license, we'll just do it anyway. On the way home.
Yeah, and...
on the way home. we differed here, didn't we?
We did, because I'd followed it for hook, line and sinker, and I'd not thought the whole process through. I was like everybody else does, looking for a saviour, looking for an alternative.
A way out.
Looking for a way out. This guy's going to change it. This guy, and he's going to. I'll just give him. I can afford to give £100.
I know.
And I were going to do it. I were going to say, yeah, come on, somebody's got to step up and give £100.
On the way, I said, don't do it.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Sit back, wait, see what happens.
Don't do it. But that shows you, doesn't it? Even 2 or 3 years ago, we were still looking for something that was going to save us. We figured out now it's not coming.
No.
The Bradbury Pound's not going to do it.
No.
Okay, bless him.
Yeah.
Brian Gerrish is not going to do it. Bless him.
No.
He's not going to, because I'll tell you for why. There's not enough of us.
No, there isn't.
Right, there isn't enough.
No.
Okay?
Not enough with money, anyway.
Well, it's hitting the bottom that causes this, isn't it?
TPV's proved that, hasn't it?
But if you look at when the speakers come over to this country, like Thomas, or when Ian Crane does his talks, or whomever else, I can't think of the names, doesn't matter.
Yeah. Michael Zarian, we were going to go give him a tenner each.
Yeah, but he couldn't get enough people to fill a little arena in Doncaster.
No, he couldn't. No,
I know. We've got to say to ourselves, there's not that many of us, really, is there? And it would seem that
not that many with money, anyway.
there's like little pockets of resistance in Hull and North Westshire.
Yeah,
Liverpool.
Are they?
They're near the Irish.
Deprived areas, poorer areas. Can we say that?
Birmingham.
Yeah.
South Wales. You see, and it sort of is those where they used to put car making plants.
Yeah.
Where's the cheapest place in the country we can get people to put cars together? Sunderland.
Yeah.
Right, Birmingham. South Wales. Yeah, to be honest, it's where the poorest people live.
They are. Yeah.
You know, there is a real factor here that the poorest people live in the areas that are little hotspots for resistance. And most of the poorest people live there are trying to get out of paying the bills they can't afford to pay. And over the weeks and months we've been doing this, it might sound like I've criticised those people, and I have. And I'm guilty. I do look back, and every week I think, why did I do that? Why did I do that? But I realise that they're just trying to fight their own battles.
Yeah. They're
trying to overcome the problem that they have. And the problem that they have is paying the bills.
Yeah.
Now, their solution to it is their solution. It's none of my business. So, as you know, I've got to try and not fall for this socialism thing that's going on.
No.
Because they want us to fight all the time. They want me to say to the unproductive people, you have no value, so why should we give you any money? I realise that it's easy for me to say it.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't feel that way if I was wearing their shoes.
No. I'm going to have a little rant now.
Go on.
I've just seen something.
Go on then.
And we've had a little sniff at the alternative energy movement, haven't we? We had to go ourselves at the alternative energy movement, didn't we? It cost us dearly, didn't it?
Well, it didn't cost us. Go on. A little rant. I'm looking
here we
forward
go.
to this.
Little rant. This is Activist Post, the biggest Ponzi scheme in the history of the world. It says at the top of this. The date on this is 25th of the 6th, 2013. That's when we hung this up on this wall.
But we've had our news stories decorating our psychopath's lair.
This is our psychopath's lair.
This is our psychopath's lair. I mean, when you see in the horror movies the actual suspect, when they get into his room, he's got bits of paper, newspaper cuttings all over the walls.
Yes.
That's what we've got.
That's what we've got. And here it is, top of the page, it says, power companies hate this. Hate is in capital letters. And it says, energy companies are scared that people will learn how to produce free energy for their homes using this unique device. And it's a little yellow box with a black front. I don't know what it is. It doesn't even go say. But we actually got a little engine to run. Pete's gone now. Pete were here this evening. He's our what we call it. What's that guy out of Back to the Future called? The mad scientist guy.
Oh, I don't know. Professor something, probably.
Yeah, he's
Pete is.
He's that man.
He's our crazy engineer. Try anything.
If he had a DeLorean, it would be Back to the Future by now. With
he
Pete.
would have done. Pete is the guy that will stick his hand in the plug to see him live.
He will. Yeah, he can build computers and stuff like that. Anyway,
yes,
we built. We got a little lawnmower engine, a scrap one off my neighbour.
We did.
And I'd given him the engine a while ago because he repairs mower engines. And I said to Dennis, you know that mower engine I gave you, Dennis, have you used it? He says, no. I says, can I have it back? And he says, well, it don't work. I says, I know, well, I gave you... He says, I'll get it working. Dennis said, I'll get it working. I says, oh, that's so okay. And he got it working for us on petrol. And then Pete had a device, this canister and everything, and we did get this little 2.5 horsepower engine.
Yep.
Little lawnmower engine.
Yep.
And we did get it to run off a mixture of water and petrol. A little bit of petrol on top of the water, and then the water in it underneath. And the fumes went clear, but it wasn't generating enough power to generate. It wasn't generating enough energy to give any power of any.
You were starving it from fuel, but it was still ticking over.
It was. No, the smaller engine we actually got to run with the petrol tank turned off.
So then we moved up.
We moved up to a bigger generator.
Well, it was me that wanted the generator anyway.
Was for the shop in case the power goes off.
If the electric goes off, I can either pay insurance to keep the freezers frozen, or I can buy my own little generator and keep the freezers frozen.
Yeah.
So this fitted the bill.
And it was, and it's a 4 kilowatt. This is a 4 kilowatt generator.
Yep.
We've gone from a little 900 kilowatt one to 4 kilowatts.
And we proper wired it as well. It's actually wired into my house.
Yep.
So I can plug things in and I can make things work. But it's 4 kilowatts. It's a couple of electric fires. Don't get too carried away.
It is.
You know, I'm not going to be lighting up the street as it were.
No. But you could become, if the power went off,
I can keep my freezers frozen. I can boil the kettle,
but you'd still have to buy petrol to put in.
Exactly.
And we tried.
So
this.
I'm not preparing for a month of I'm not preparing for Armageddon itself here.
And we tried to up everything, didn't we? We upsized everything. We upsized the tank and the pipes and could we get that to run off water?
No.
We little drip feed of petrol, and then it'd run for so long, and then it'd cut out.
But what you're saying is that these little adverts online, that are targeted to people like us, they don't sell you the machine.
No,
they sell you the actual instructions how to build it.
Yes, and you've got to send the money off of how to build it and all that.
All you're buying is an email document.
It is. That's all, a PDF document. That's all you're buying.
And they say the things that you need are available in any genuine hardware store, don't they?
Yep.
But
you lies.
It's rubbish.
It is rubbish. You
it's
cannot
rubbish.
get the size of magnets that it needs or whatever. I remember you did a little DVD for one of your customers who's a very little clever engineer that comes in here, comes into your shop. You gave him the DVD and said, "Go and have a look at that, see what you could do." And if you need any money, we'll finance it. We've spent money out here, haven't we? I think I spent 200 quid in bits.
We have tried everything that people have talked about. We have grown food. We've tried to build an engine that's much more efficient than the one we've got. We've got a generator.
We have.
Right, we've got water filters.
What
else have we done? We use cash all the time.
We try to use as much cash
shop
as possible.
local. What else do we... We've tried. We do our bit.
We've been to see about the lawful bank.
I mean,
we've been there, we've done it.
But do we watch TV? Yes, we do.
Yes,
do we read the newspapers? Yes, we do. Why? Because, like we started the show, if you want to join a cult, if you want to join, a new cult, a new sect, if you want to be involved in that sect, then you get insect and you start to wonder why it's called a web. Because this is to get us into small groups, isn't it?
It is.
This is to section us. Like any madhouse.
Any madman,
Any madhouse, you're going to be sectioned.
You are.
And Facebook is sectioning everybody.
Your profile.
It's your psychological profile, of course it is.
But if anybody's listening on there, or listening to this show, and you've just heard what we're saying there, and you've said, that's rubbish, we've done this, we've done that, we've done the other, come on, tell us. That's what that was one of the reasons why we did these shows, wasn't it?
Yeah,
to challenge people.
Get in contact.
Come on, get in contact.
We're late doing the show tonight because we issued a challenge 2 weeks ago.
We did.
It's okay. All you guys are listening. There's not that many, but there's a few listening. I think we're about 209 subscribers, which is 209 more than we started with.
Yeah, and we get about 150 views.
So thanks very much to those people.
So there's 150 people listening.
And we issued a challenge to speak to us. And one person.
Yes.
After last week's you bloody cowards.
Yes.
Okay, someone put themselves forward and said, we'll speak to you.
Yeah.
So we did.
We spoke to him this evening,
and it was a pleasure.
Yeah.
That was... I asked the person... we've done the recording.
Yeah.
And I send them the recording.
Yeah.
They'll decide if I can speak about it or use it in the future.
Yeah.
but the person involved, I said, have you done something different this evening? Have you actually done something different? And that is where you've contacted somebody on the internet and you've spoke your truth. You've actually said, where I am right now, this is me, this is what I've learned.
This is what I've done.
Yes. And I said, is this the first time you've ever done it? He said, yes. I said, how many years from discovery to here has it been? And he said 6.
6 years.
6 years. We did it a bit quicker.
Yes.
That was partly because of my confidence in my previous career. And that is, even though I was just a DJ, you have to take it on the chin that when you DJ, you make mistakes, but it doesn't hurt because you've done it so many times before that the embarrassment and how off-putting that would be for someone who'd never done that before. For me to make a mistake in front of 2,000 people, they just laughed at me. But I was the guy in charge of the game. And I very rarely made them, but when I did, I admitted them.
Yeah. And similar for me, I've been a sales rep for a lot of years.
Yeah.
And that does change you being a sales rep.
Because you've got to speak to people you don't know.
In fact, I'd challenge anybody out there, if you're stuck for something to do, go get a job try get a job as a sales rep. And if you get the job, go see how hard it is. It's brilliant. It doesn't have to change your view on life, being a sales rep.
Well, actually, because a sales rep in today's modern environment has no value at all.
No, you're not.
When you turn up or ring up somebody, they say, what do you want? What have you got? Why should I buy it?
Yeah.
And why you?
I haven't got time. Go away.
You really do have to validate yourself.
Yep.
And you have to be clever at it.
You do.
But the whole world's for sale.
It is.
This is Noah's Ark. This is Noah's Ark. I'll tell you now, we're drowning in debt and ignorance. And we've been challenged to swim.
Yeah.
And not only swim, but learn to sail.
Yeah.
Because everything's for sale. Because in the land and sea reality, the SEE and the SEA, which are running together now, the duality is coming to a singularity.
It is.
We're going from 2 to 1. Now, we always hear the word, we need to come together and become all one. This is very new age. It's very idealistic because it's not going to happen. How this can only work in our advantage is that we speak out. We actually challenge the people who make decisions on our behalf, and we only challenge them to do the bloody job. Do what it is that you said you were going to do. And politicians, I mean, whatever you think about politicians, we'll come back to that in a minute. But I'm going to give you an idea of what politicians think about us.
It's weeks like this that make me glad that I'm no longer in politics, because, I mean, I remember...
I think everyone feels the same way.
I mean, the truth is, the one thing I could not stand about being an MP were my constituents. You may loathe members of Parliament, but it is as nothing as to how we feel about you.
Welcome back, then, Mr. Giles Brandreth.
Oh, yes.
Who clearly tells you that no matter what you think about them, it is nothing compared to the kind of contempt they have for us. The monetisation of the world continues, and it's been around for a long, long, long time. But we're now learning what it really means. It really means producing pay-in to get something back out. If you don't, you won't. And that's where this is headed. Do I agree with it? Of course I don't agree with it. At all. I mean, we have a problem with a tax, or a number of taxes. And they could easily make it they could make it quite easy for us to pay taxes by giving us the right amount of money to be able to pay the taxes. In other words, if we all had enough to get through life, because we don't actually ask for much. Look around. Have we moved on in our lifetimes? Have our lifetimes improved in a way that we feel richer today?
No.
Yours, Joe. We don't feel richer, do we? Because we've now learned that that's not at all what's going to happen to us. The idea is that we're on a downward decline now that's going to be very hard to turn around, of becoming slowly but surely poorer. So we actually become part of a European Union where the lowest common denominator is where we are going. The poorest country in Europe is where our wages are going to end up, so we can compete with that labour force.
Yes.
Okay, this is not to bring us all up.
No.
It's to lower us
Bringing
to
us down.
who'll do it cheapest. If they gave us enough money to have a holiday, to renew the car every 3 or 4 or 5 years, and to be able to pay our mortgage off by the time we're 45-ish,
Yeah.
if we had that, then we wouldn't complain about the system as it works today. But they don't want that for us. They don't want us to be successful, because their success is entirely geared to our failure, because they want what we've tried to buy off us.
Yeah.
They want the land back, the houses back. They want us to fail.
Yeah.
The central banks around the world, the Bank of England being the first one ever, it does not want governments to succeed. The English Bank of England even is responsible for the currency and credit for 52 Commonwealth countries. It does not want the governments of any of those 52 countries to be successful. It wants those governments to come back to the Bank of England and ask for money.
Ask for money, yeah.
Because the Bank of England only makes money on the interest that it loans out.
Yeah.
This is designed to make us all fail slowly.
Yeah.
So we work harder and harder and harder to stay where we are.
Yeah. The analogy I've got that fits with that is when I was in sales. You went to all these sales seminars and you had to tell people that your company was the best company because you got this, that and the other. And the product you were selling was better because it had this benefit and that benefit. They always gone about the benefits of what you're selling against the competition.
Well, benefits is where you get them for nothing.
And they all told you in the sales seminars, that you don't undercut the price. You've got to sell the benefits. You've got to get more. If he's paying some cheaper for that product, you want him to buy your product, pay a bit more for your product, because your product will last longer than the rest. And the analogy there is fairy washing up liquid.
Yep.
That's the analogy they use on the TV. They show a table full of plates of the competitors washing up liquid, and the fairy liquid does about half again, doesn't it?
It does.
That's sales all over, and the only person that buys the washing up liquid is how much it's cost them, and how much money out of that pound that they've spent. Is it 80p I've spent and I've got 20 pence to spend on something else? I don't want to spend £1.20. I want to save 20 pence.
But the fairy liquid user, okay, will have more bubbles.
Yes.
Well, that's all.
That's all.
Okay, they will not use less fairy liquid.
No, they won't.
And I'll tell you for why. Because in the chip shop here, I get to buy all sorts of commercial type brand washed up liquid, and I can buy a 5 litre washed up liquid for $3.99, or I can buy the better one at $8.99.
There you
but
go.
It comes in the same container.
Comes in the same size container. Usually the same colour with a different label on.
It's always green, isn't it? And you see, you think, okay, the $3.99 one and the the $8.99 one. Now, my boys and girls who do the washing up, you think to yourself, okay, I'm going to fool them here, because if they use the same amount of the $3.99 one as they do for the $8.99 one, then I'm a fiver up. So let's see how they get on. And I've done this so many times. The $3.99 one, okay, goes twice as fast as the $8.99 one.
Yeah.
Okay, you don't save any money. So quality is part of this game, isn't it?
It is.
It's like a washing machine downstairs.
Yeah.
I used to buy Hot Point, Hoover, Indesit, whatever. 2 or 3 years, I can wreck them.
They're gone.
You can wreck them. Okay, it's a chip shop. It's an everyday wreck them. So you think, okay, what shall I buy? So you go to it was Weatherby I went to. Give me a washing machine I can't break. So they did. It was a Miele.
Right.
11 years old it is.
Right.
No problems. So there is money in quality.
But how much dearer was it than the
twice
others?
the price.
There you go.
But twice the price and 11 years in.
Yeah.
Still working.
Yeah. And you'd have had to buy 5 of the other ones.
But we can't afford the better ones.
No, not at that time.
The economy's changing.
Yes. There's the trap.
We live in the buy and throw away economy.
Yeah.
It's not for us.
Yeah. While
The richer people, the rich people get richer because they can afford the better machine.
And but all the while telling us that we've got to buy sustainable.
Exactly.
And not selling you a sustainable,
That's right.
but the right sustainable on it,
That's
but
right.
it's not sustainable.
We're using up the things that the Earth's got to offer too fast.
Too fast, yeah.
So recycle.
Recycle
Okay,
it now,
this
yeah.
recycling is rubbish. Okay,
is.
I have no idea how much you can read. I don't think hardly anything we actually throw away gets recycled.
Oh.
I'm convinced it doesn't really get recycled because they want us to do this. There's no money unless we keep buying and throwing away.
And throwing it away.
Buy, throw away.
Exactly, yeah.
You know, we've got to the point now where next October, because the Queen says so, we're going to pay 5 pence for plastic bags. Okay, so you go to the supermarket, right? 13 aisles, stacked, 5 shelves high, 6 shelves high, 7 whatever. Plastic on every one.
Plastic containers.
Even your bread is wrapped in
a
plastic.
plastic bag.
Out of all those shelves of plastic, the only evil plastic is the bag that you take your shopping home in. Okay? Because this is the bag that strangles rabbits and foxes. Not your bread bag. Not your ice bag. Not your vegetable bag.
Oh.
No, that's okay. That doesn't do any of those things. Luckily, they make shopping bags that don't actually... They're not recyclable. They don't make them so they can recycle them.
No.
They don't make them in a way that they can't be left in the earth, and they don't. 100 years. And that bag will still be a plastic bag. Everything else is fine.
Will you be around to dig it up and see?
Don't question me. I've got the coat on. I'm the expert.
You've got
okay?
the white coat on.
I'm
with
the
eggs in
expert.
the
That's
pocket and the
okay,
clipboard.
That's exactly it. All the other plastic's fine. It's just the bag you take your shopping home with. Okay? And don't ask me questions because you don't know what I know.
Yeah.
All right? So pay and shut it.
I used to work for Comet, and they did that. All the sales staff, when the Comet first set out, were given a white coat and pens to put in the pocket and a clipboard
Marvellous.
to make them look like they knew what they were talking about when they were coming to sell you a washing machine.
It's a costume drama, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it is,
It
yeah.
really is. This is all staged for us to enjoy. I got. I'm going to say it anyway. I got a guy on trial last Saturday in the shop. It was his second actual shift, and he came on trial to see if he could work in the shop. And he's 18, and they're a bit bloody clueless at 18. But I always take him on and say, "Look, here's the cash register. It's all itemised. The first part of learning how to do this is I want you to actually listen to what the customer wants, then find the buttons on the cash register, press the buttons, and get to the right total." Doesn't sound too hard, does it?
No.
Anyway, he's had a couple of goes at it, and this cash register, which is 20 odd years old, right? Okay, he's having a bit of bother with it, and you know why? 'Cause it's too simple. It actually works far too simply. Somehow they want it to be more complicated, but he's getting the hang of it. And I said to him, "You're 18. You're just finishing your last year at college, I think it is. You must have some ideas of what's your next step." 'Cause he's a young, thin as a rake, good-looking young lad. I mean, I don't like him for starters because of that, but I have to get over that now. And he's a good-looking, fresh-faced, thin as a rake, got his life in front of him. You think, bugger. But I said, "What are you going to do? What's the next step after you finish college or at college?" He said, "Well, I think I'd like to be an actor." And the way he said it made me go like, "You think you'd like to be an actor?" He said, "Yes, I think I would." So, "What experience do you have of acting?" He said, "No, not really." I said, "What was the last book you read?" I don't read books, no. I don't read books. I said, "Well, surely if you fancy a career in acting, you're going to have to learn, to learn to read and remember. And reading books would be part of it, even if it was, if acting is something that you really want to do, the Dickens, the Shakespeare, the contacting local theatres, getting involved, your school plays, just any little amdram stuff, it's all over the place. Surely you would have taken part in some of that." "No," he said, "not really, no." I said, "So you're not really going to be an actor, are you?" "Well, I don't know, I quite fancy it." I said, well, what's your plan B? A game designer. I'm going to design video games. It's really, it's you. So have you much experience with computers? Yeah, quite a lot. He said, quite a lot, yeah. I said, no, I'm not very good at computers, but I'm aware of 3 different programming languages that computers use. And if you're going to be a video game designer as such, you probably have some ideas of these languages, and obviously looked at how you can incorporate what other people do into a new video game of what you want to put forward and that sort of thing. Not really, he said. No, not really. I said, so you're not really going to be a video game designer, are you? Well, no, you've said that. Maybe not really. I don't know. Maybe not. I wasn't trying to embarrass him. What I'm doing here, and I may have embarrassed him, but he probably won't be listening to this, but what I'm doing here is I'm saying, this is what you get at 18 now. Now, when I was younger, and I'm going back to when I was about 7 or 8, and I'm thinking of a girl called Beverly Davis. Right? Beverly Davis was her name. And I'm still in contact with her now, and she won't mind me saying this. I was 7, she was a month older, which made her older. Right? Just older. Because girls grow up faster, it felt like she was older. And I was going to be the airplane pilot, and she was going to be my number 1 stewardess. Okay? 7. By the time we were about 10 or 11, okay, that way of thinking was done. Okay, we didn't think in the dream world of what would you like to do, because when you're little, you are asked that. What would you like to do when you grow up? You can pick any job you want because you're little. But as you start growing up, you realise that it doesn't quite work like that. 18. Reminded me when I was 7. That's a little bit uncomfortable, isn't it?
It certainly is, yeah.
He's not going to work out either, bless him. He's not quite got the hang of it. He's not going to work out. And it's only a chip shop. There was a time when I said, well, if you can't really work a till in the chip shop and get the hang of, you should ask yourself why, because it's not my fault. I've been employing young people for, well, I've actually been employing young people in a number of different businesses, including DJing, for, well, 28 years. And sure, they've changed over time, and so have I. But what I get to work with is an awful lot less than what I used to get to work with. It's almost gone from 240 volts to 12 volts. And they get tired really quickly. Strange, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
It's a bit
scary.
Well, it's just, that's the change that I see. Now, I know as part of the big agenda, we can blame other people for what's going on.
Yeah.
But we sort of know what's going on, don't we? Have you not, you've spoken to enough people now over the years, that this is willful ignorance that we're suffering, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is where, if I talk to you, and if I accept what you are saying may be true, now I am guilty of something. Now I am guilty of ignoring what may be possibly true. So if I don't speak to you, and if I talk over you, and if I ignore you, then I don't have to accept anything you've said may be true.
Exactly, yeah.
Have we got this figured out right?
I don't think so.
But have we got it figured out closer than some? We have, haven't
possibly.
We've got it closer than some, haven't we? And whose fault is it mostly?
Yeah.
It's ours, isn't
Definitely ours, yeah.
The fault belongs with us.
It does.
Because in the game of hide and seek, it's been hidden, what we need. And I suspect 300 years ago is where it started to go wrong a little bit. Because with the invention of the printed word, the books that we now know and love, and the availability of them, it was very important what went in those books. And what went in those books was entirely dependent on who was going to read them.
Yeah.
Now we know historically some of the paintings and the pictures and the photos. Every man of his worth was always photoed or photographed or painted in his study, wasn't it? And what was his study full of?
Yeah, books.
There was a time when a man was judged by the size of his
read,
library.
Yeah, and the size of the library, yeah.
You know, it really was.
Yeah.
And now we do it by the amount of DVDs we've got.
Yeah.
It hasn't changed, but the content has.
Mm.
It only works if they actually, the powers that be, assume ownership of things that matter and dispense it to those that matter.
Yeah.
And we don't fall in that category.
Nope.
We don't. So everything we know, we don't really know. Everything we believe has been given to us to believe. And that makes us very uncomfortable. So where is the point that we hold on to?
Mm-hmm.
Where is reality and what is reality?
Yeah. Well, as you played in the clip at the beginning, the little girl, the imagination, and she was saying, and it can be beautiful if you can take your imagination anywhere.
Uh-huh.
But they're keeping us more like children for longer, and that's mirrored in the actual school leaving age. My granddad left school he left junior school, and there wasn't enough secondary school places. You had 11 plus then, and if you didn't get into 11 plus and go to secondary school, you went into work. So he started on the building site about 11, 12-year-old.
Right.
And he learnt his trade on the building site, and by the time he was 58, he was knackered. He'd had enough. He'd gone from 12 to 58 working on the building, in the building trade.
We've all had enough.
But then my dad's generation, they left at 14, 15.
Mm-hmm.
Then in our generation, it was 16 years old. They'd increased it to 16. They're now wanting to keep you at school until you're 18 now, aren't they? And of course, once you've done 18, then you've gone to university, which is still school, really, isn't it? It's not really work in university.
Well, the 18 thing, apart from anything else, is to hide the unemployment figures.
It's well, of
You know,
course.
that's going to work very well. But it's not just that, is it?
No, that's
Because if you haven't got the hang of English and maths by the time you're 16,
exactly.
you can be darn sure that another 2 years of it is going to demoralise you to the point of giving up.
Mm-hmm.
Because the education system is just designed
It is.
to make more of what the system needs. Well, it's a filtration method to bring what they need to the top and to make everybody else feel less than.
Mm-hmm. I remember when calculators came out. You and I remember calculators coming out. Was that the late 60s, early 70s, when the first calculator came out? And I remember my granddad getting one, but he worked everything out with a slide rule. He could work out how much concrete he needed, how many bricks, how many bags of cement, how many bags of sand.
I used to go out with a girl whose father did everything in string. That's all he did.
Yeah.
He measured everything in string.
In string?
Yeah.
There you go.
And that's all it was. He just used a piece of string. No tape measures, no nothing.
No.
Just string.
And he got... And we've got to that stage now. I've seen the quality of the houses that we're building now. And we've discussed this as well, and they're absolute rubbish. They're not designed to last the length of time that they're expecting to mortgage them for.
Only just.
Yeah.
I was going to say, only just, aren't they?
Yeah.
You're right. The house that we're in now is built in 1928.
Yeah.
And will be built. Will still be here. Excluding acts of God, but it'll still be here 100 years from now.
Yes. Exactly.
But the houses that we can look out on from the back window here, the houses to the right here, they were built in the 60s.
Yeah.
So they're half and half, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're half brick and half wood.
Yeah, they are.
And yet, as we look at today's houses, they look like they're built to bricks, but they're not. The bricks don't have the same quality, the same density, and the same ability to withstand.
No.
I mean, I can go back to the village I used to live in called Lehman Village. I remember when I was really little. In the mid-70s, Barratt houses came. Barratt homes came.
Yeah.
And because Lehman Village is right next door to the RAF Lehman, and Barratt's came and built on a farmer's field, we used to ride a motorbike around it. That was our motorbike track gone. And they came and built some houses. Just small little estate. Rough guess, 14, 15, 16 houses. And that was built in the mid-70s. And I've been back to Lehman where I used to live now, and this is 40 years later. those houses are falling to pieces.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The gutters, the roofs, the windows, they're all falling to pieces. They've been maintained to a standard, but today's house buyer, those are houses that you buy when you're younger. Your discernible house buyer doesn't buy houses like that because they know that today's modern houses, they may go up in the market valuation, but the maintenance and its end valuation, 40, 50 years from now,
yeah,
they'll be knocking them down, they'll be worthless.
Yeah, they're going to level
They'll
them,
be
yeah.
the slums, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They'll be the ones that nobody wants anymore.
Yeah.
So if you've got a modern day house that's 30, 35 years old, have a look around.
Mm-hmm.
Because not only will it go out of fashion, but we'll all see it for what it is, which is a house with a timer on it.
Yes, yeah.
And it's going to fall to pieces.
It'll become too costly to repair.
Yeah.
Mm.
But it's all built for price, isn't it? This is all
Yes.
down to building stuff for price.
Yeah. Mm.
And we accept that. But we don't see it being done in our healthcare
No.
or our food supply. And we've yet to experience it in our gas and electric.
Mm.
The smart meters are coming.
They are.
And those smart meters are going to regulate our ability to use energy with the carefree, gay abandon that we've always been able to.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, you can do what you want, when you want, if you can pay for it.
Rationing is coming.
That's coming.
We're coming
That's
back to
definitely
rationing.
coming.
Yeah.
But it won't be rationed. You'll just have the gadget on the wall that tells you about your consumption.
Yes.
And makes recommendations. And what you'll do is you'll allow the system in to assume control of your household needs.
Yeah. Because you've used up enough CO2.
But
you've used up your CO2.
But you'll allow it to
allowance.
switch the refrigerator off overnight.
Yeah.
You'll allow it to regulate the number of washing machine washes you can put through. You'll program it. You'll say, we'll do 3 of these a week, we'll do 4 of these a week, and you'll be saving the planet. You'll be saving yourself money because you'll be made poor. The whole thing will be designed so you're in charge, so you pay exactly the same or more and use it less.
And my nan could do a full week's wash on a Monday in a twin tub. She'd do the sheets first, all the whites first, then all the colours, all the lot. Washing day were Monday.
She's a rigger.
Yeah.
Marvellous.
Yeah.
And it amazing? It's called a rigger then, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And
she managed to get it dry.
And when our phones ring and everything, we never think it's connected.
No, we don't.
We never recognise the world of war that we live in. We never once figure it out.
Yeah.
We live in a war, and the enemies are everywhere. We do live with the enemy, and lies cause wars at home and away. The brown people aren't the problem.
No. No, we're the problem.
We're the problem because we think it's somebody else that's the problem.
We do.
We can't look in the mirror, put your hand up and say, right, it's up to me to sort this out. It really is do it yourself.
Yeah.
And as for putting shelves up, we can't bother to do it ourselves.
Nope.
As for clearing our own problems and emptying our own drains, and we can't. No, we want our shopping delivered. We want someone else to fix our little problems because we want to sit and watch.
Yeah.
And that's all we want to do is sit and watch.
Yeah.
Can we fix electrics? Can we even wire up our own TVs nowadays? No, we can't. Because we want other people to come and do it so we can feel somehow that we're superior. Sad, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Think we'll ever learn?
No.
That for the first time in human history, for the first time in all of human history, almost all of mankind is politically awake. And these new and old major powers face still yet another novel reality, in some respects unprecedented. And it is that while the lethality of their power is greater than ever, their capacity to impose control over the politically awakened masses of the world is at a historical low. I once put it rather pungently, and I was flattered that the British Foreign Secretary repeated this. as follows. Namely, in earlier times, it was easier to control 1 million people, literally. It was easier to control 1 million people than physically to kill 1 million people. Today, it is infinitely easier to kill 1 million people than to control 1 million people.
That is one scary quote, isn't it?
It certainly is, yeah.
But that's the way they talk. I mean, we have finally managed to accept that the world we live in, we are the lowest of the low. We are of no importance, really, in the bigger scheme of things.
Nope.
You know, we don't really have individually power as such, but we have the ability to think we have. We sit home alone, unable to get along with our neighbours. We don't buy the local newspaper. We don't go to council meetings. We don't get involved in charity projects and community ideas. We don't go to fetes and sales, and we don't support local charity. But we sit here in self-righteous condemnation of everybody else.
Yep.
It's a sickness that we're suffering from, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I'm trying to recover from this sickness. We do get involved locally. We do try things. We do.
And I've done my own versions of charity.
But it's so much easier to let somebody else do it, isn't it?
Rather than give me money to somebody else, I've given my services to somebody that needed it.
And they haven't really been as grateful as you hope.
No,
it
not
hasn't
really.
worked out, no.
No, it's been almost...
You see,
it was accepted that, that I'm entitled
now,
to it.
Now,
sort of thing.
last week, I've got people I know, who will quite happily let me go and buy them a drink or whatever, and they won't buy one back, and they say, why don't you feel the need to at least offer? Well, you've got more than me.
Yeah.
That is the answer.
Yeah.
Well, you've got more than me. So you should buy more.
Yeah.
Socialism's working well, isn't it?
It is,
It is, the socialist agenda's working well.
Yeah.
We never ask ourselves, how did the Germans get to the terrible state they got to? And how was it, it was all by rule of law all the way through. I find it... history doesn't repeat, but it rhymes. And we've talked about this in our language decode many times now. I know the language decode for the majority of people listening is of no interest at all. They think it's of no consequence to their lives. And yet, I'll ask you, did it make the biggest difference to your journey?
It did, yeah. It realised to me that we speak it every day.
But
it's
but
the hidden...
seeing the words.
Yeah, it's if you want to hide something, put it in plain sight.
But we hear people saying that, but they don't get it, do they?
No, and we speak it every day.
Yeah. No one can actually accept that from the 1350 onwards, the year 1350 onwards, a little research will tell you that they'd made the decision to give us a language. By the 1500s, they had what was called the backbone of it.
Yeah.
And by 1604, they'd got a book to put it in.
Yeah.
Called the Bible.
A universal code.
Exactly. And you think... the story of Jesus is whatever you say it is, and I'm not here to argue with you. The rebel of his time. The John Wayne of his day. But not like Hollywood. They did kill him. They did actually kill him. It's hard to understand, and it took me a long time. You say to people, what is the Bible? They say it's a control system for a lot of people. I say, yeah. But now I know it's the instruction book to be repeated on new sets of people every generation to control them.
The template they're working to.
Yes.
The blueprint.
But that's very different to the lackadaisical, it's a way of controlling large numbers of people. It's a method of control used by those in power to be repeated on each generation and updated as you go. It's the same feeling for every generation. The end of days. The time is nigh. It's coming back to save us all. It's the same bloody game on a brand new set of people.
Yeah.
That just updates.
It does, yeah.
The Jesus story may or may not be real. Well, on one level, of course it's real. Because they want us to rebel. They want us to be the rebel lion. Put the word rebel lion together. And you tell me what it means. They want to weed out those that don't agree, that won't go along, that won't join in. Just like every community scenario does. They want to get rid of us. And Jack Straw, the quote from Zbigniew Brzezinski, was about Jack Straw.
Yeah.
Saying, the English are a race not worth saving.
Mm.
And now I know what he means. Because we are so lost, so confused, and so convinced that we know stuff, that I don't think we can be turned around. Is it the people's fault? Partly. Or is it what the system ordered? Of course it's what the system ordered, isn't it? They're now actually starting to tell us that they have computers that can pose as 13-year-olds and converse with adults and convince them that they're real.
Yeah.
How long do you think they've really had that?
Oh, hundreds of years.
No, computers.
Oh, computers, sorry. Well, since we can safely say since the 40s.
They've been able to... I don't know about the 40s, but I agree with you that a long time ago.
Well, it was the first one was invented to break the codes for the Enigma machine, wasn't it?
But I'm saying about a 13-year-old now with his Turing test.
Right, yeah.
That fooled an audience in being able to respond to its questions and interact socially.
Yes, I'm with you. Yeah.
This computer fooled the Turing test, it's called.
Yes.
And this is where a computer fooled a third of the listening audience
That it
into
was
a real person.
a real young boy, a 13-year-old boy.
Yeah. They're admitting that they've got there.
Well, that's just recently, then, isn't it?
Yeah, but they're admitting
got
it.
to be
They're admitting it.
With the onset of Facebook and Twitter and all this kind of thing.
Do you think that we actually are helping the system or hindering it?
We're helping it along nicely.
Yeah, we are actually.
We're speaking it into.
We're telling people what's coming.
Yeah,
and
when
it comes, we say, "Ha high five! We're bloody right there."
Yeah,
so let's tell you what's coming next.
We've been the pawns.
Are we the tarot card readers? Are we the fortune tellers?
Yeah.
Are we the new entertainment in the fairground?
We are.
This isn't a fairground.
What can we get them to do next?
See what I mean, though? Are we it?
Yeah. Well,
of course we bloody are.
They're very laughing at us with the Big Brother. We watched The Island, didn't we?
Yeah.
That was the Lord of the Flies.
Yeah.
Test for the Lord of the Flies, that was.
But the alternative movement, the guys who are claiming to be fighting against the system, are we not just teaching it how to improve?
Yeah.
Are we not just educating it how to close the loopholes where we can find them? Are we not throwing arrows through the keep walls and the little, are they not just closing it all up so we can never ever penetrate? That's really what's happening here, isn't it?
But
it all sounds doom and gloom, but the problem is that until we stop fighting, we're never going to start uniting.
No, but if this is a war, if this is World War III, which we're in, which I think we are and have been, this is the information war, and we're telling them everything we're doing. We put it all on there, where we're meeting.
I know,
we are Change meeting in Leeds. It's on Monday night at Packhorse Pub.
They intercept our communications. They jack the food, contaminate the bloody water, corrupt the justice system, pay off the politicians. Yeah. Okay, and then and God knows what they've done with the police. We're in trouble.
We are.
We're in a lot of trouble, and if you've just discovered it, it's not new. It's just new to you. It's just you that figured this out.
If we were smart enough, we'd have gone back to CB radio as lot. We wouldn't have been putting it all on here.
We can't go backwards, though.
We can't go. No, this is.
Even if you try and say the day before today, It doesn't let you, does it?
No.
Because it's Groundhog Day. Because it's yesterday.
Yeah.
Yesterday.
It's remembering
yesterday. Yesterday. You can't go backwards. In Groundhog Day, how did it... I don't know if I mentioned this last week. How did he get out of it? Groundhog Day?
I can't remember the...
Bill Murray.
Bill Murray, yeah.
Yeah, but he had to learn. He was reliving the same day time and time again. Until he realised that lying and pretending and cheating wasn't going to work.
No.
He had to learn new skills. He had to learn to tell the truth. And he had to stand by the things that he said he was going to do. He had to not pretend to be something he wasn't. He had to become something he previously wasn't. And then he got out of Groundhog Day.
Right.
And the day clicked on one. It's not just a film, is it?
No.
I see it on Facebook all the time. Right?
Yeah.
You're lying to yourself and the world. You won't learn a new skill. And until you admit that all you're doing is not helping, until you accept you don't know what you need to know, then you can't get out of Groundhog Day.
Nope.
It just clocks over and let's do it again then. It's like a problem, isn't it? If you've got a problem in your life, whether it's an unpaid bill, an unfinished argument, or an unfinished project that you should have finished, every day you wake up, it says, hello, you going to deal with me today? And you say, oh, God, no, I'm gonna have to do it, not today. And it says, no problem. See you tomorrow. And as soon as you wake up, there it is again. You going to deal with me today? Okay, see you tomorrow. That's Groundhog Day. That's what I mean by Groundhog Day. You cannot turn the calendar over one day until you deal with the problem that's stopping you moving forwards. It doesn't matter what it is. It matters whether you deal with it. Whether it's an unpaid bill, a mortgage problem, an unsolved or unfinished argument, a project, like I said. You cannot move on in your life until you deal with that.
You can't.
Ask yourself, does that apply to your own life? It applies to all of us, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Your life only moves forward when you deal with the problems that slow you down. The fences, the hurdles, the challenges, the obstacles. Because that's the race you're in, isn't it? Have we been negative? Well, if that's what you hear, that's what we've been for you. There is nobody that you know, and nobody that you're ever going to learn to know is going to make your life better. They're going to pretend to make it better and ask you to pay them because it'll feel like they really have.
Yeah.
The newspapers will have you believe that the economy is improving, your house prices are going up, and everything in the garden is rosy. Ask yourself the simple question. Are you better off than you were this time last year? Well, whatever the newspapers say, it doesn't include you. We're on the road to poverty, and everybody who takes 5 minutes to check this out can confirm it. It's the animating contest to liberate yourself. Can you box your way out of this box? Can you escape a cardboard box? Because you just have to push the lid up and walk out of it. The only freedom you can attain is the freedom in your head.
It is.
Because that's where you live. And the fight you have with yourself every day is good versus evil. And nothing more.
No, it isn't anything more.
You can blame everybody else.
Yeah.
But you know what? The choice is always yours. And if you find yourself saying, if I don't do it, other people will. I do it because I can. If others have to suffer so I can win, then that's just the way it is. If you find yourself using those excuses, you'll be the same place you were tomorrow as you are today. And you'll be the same place the day after tomorrow as you are today. Because this system is designed to make you go round and round in circles, going nowhere fast, and fighting with everybody who gets in your way.
Yep.
They don't want you to form a team. They don't want you to relay anything important. And they certainly do not want you to pass the finish line. Because the race organisers are not taking part in your race.
They're not.
They are the organisers.
They are the organisers.
They're the sponsors. They organise the rules.
They do.
And the organisers, the sponsors. They sell all the TV coverage. They do all the deals. And while you're sat in the stadium watching a spectacle take place, it never once occurs to you that none of this, and I mean none of this, could be possible. Those people who are watching the Olympics in London, the spectacle it was, and it was pretty darn impressive. Well done, England, because it was well done. Not one of those people in those seats in that stadium ever said to themselves, none of this could possibly occur if I wasn't here paying for it.
Yeah.
They thought that the whole spectacle had been put on for them, when actually the spectators had paid for the spectacle to be put on, and for the show organisers.
And if they weren't paying, then it were their children were going to pick up the debt, and they were going to pay.
But you see what I mean?
Yeah.
We bow down to our show and event organisers.
Yeah.
We thank them for the shows and the effort and the infrastructure and the buildings they provide.
And we provide it all.
And we provide the time, the energy, the labour, the creation, the engineering, the design, and the finished product. And 99 out of 100 things that we make for them, we can't afford to buy.
No.
And it never occurs to us
that
they didn't make it for us.
No.
We bloody made it for them.
Yeah. That makes me think of, we've just had the D-Day remembrance. It's 60 years. And the Queen went over to wherever she was in Normandy there. And
I think it's 70, isn't it?
Is it 70? Yeah. And they were allowed to touch her and things like this. And I just thought, at the end of these movies that they make, they always put at the end, no animals were harmed in the making of this movie. And I wonder if they should have put, at the end of the D-Day celebrations that they've just had, no royal family, no politician, no civil servant was injured in the making of the liberation of France and D-Day.
Good lad.
Nobody thinks about that, do they?
It's a Game of Thrones, my friend.
It is a Game of Thrones.
It's a Game of Thrones, and the word thrones and the word thorns is the story we get. It's thrones and thorns.
Yeah.
It's fiction or faction. It's whatever you want it to be, because what you believe is what you've been taught and trained to believe. And until you actually loosen the tether, the collar and tie, until you say, what is it really? The minute you can say, I am not repeating what anybody else has told me, this is what I think, this is what I've concluded, these are my thoughts, and nobody has ever told me. If you can never do that, you're not a creator, you're a copy. Another Tuesday. My name's Paul.
My name's Andy.
This has been the Unpenned Show, and thank you for listening.
And good night from me.
Bye for now.
If I were the devil, if I were the devil, if I were the prince of darkness, I'd want to engulf the whole world in darkness, and I'd have 1/3 of its real estate and 4/5 of its population, but I wouldn't be happy until I had seized the ripest apple on the tree, thee. So I'd set about, however necessary, to take over the United States. I'd subvert the churches first. I'd begin with a campaign of whispers. With the wisdom of a serpent, I would whisper to you as I whispered to Eve, do as you please. To the young, I would whisper that the Bible is a myth. I would convince them that man created God instead of the other way around. I would confide that what's bad is good and what's good is square. And the old I would teach to pray after me, Our Father, which art in Washington. And then I'd get organized. I'd educate authors in how to make lurid literature exciting so that anything else would appear dull and uninteresting. I'd threaten TV with dirtier movies and vice versa. I'd peddle narcotics to whom I could. I'd sell alcohol to ladies and gentlemen of distinction. I'd tranquilize the rest with pills. If I were the devil, I'd soon have families at war with themselves, churches at war with themselves, and nations at war with themselves, until each in its turn was consumed. And with promises of higher ratings, I'd have mesmerizing media fanning the flames. If I were the devil, I would encourage schools to refine young intellects, but neglect to discipline emotions. Just let those run wild. Until before you knew it, you'd have to have drug-sniffing dogs and metal detectors at every schoolhouse door. Within a decade, I'd have prisons overflowing. I'd have judges promoting pornography. Soon I could evict God from the courthouse, then from the schoolhouse, and then from the houses of Congress. And in his own churches, I would substitute psychology for religion and deify science. I would lure priests and pastors into misusing boys and girls and church money. If I were the devil, I'd make the symbol of Easter an egg and the symbol of Christmas a bottle. If I were the devil, I'd take from those who have and give to those who wanted until I had killed the incentive of the ambitious. And what'll you bet? I couldn't get whole states to promote gambling as the way to get rich. I would caution against extremes in hard work, in patriotism, in moral conduct. I would convince the young that marriage is old-fashioned, that swinging is more fun, that what you see on TV is the way to be. And thus I could undress you in public, and I could lure you into bed with diseases for which there is no cure. In other words, if I were the devil, I'd just keep right on doing what he's doing.
Paul Harvey. Good day.